everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kim. Thank you for stopping by, and today I'm bringing you my 23 books that I would love to be able to read in the year of 2023. Getting on the trend for this year, these are all kind of my priority books that I would love to get to throughout the entire year. So this will be my project that I'm working on. I try to have at least one project a year that I try to conquer, try to complete throughout the year, and this year this is it. Last year I did the TBR project, where TBR self-destruct project. Last year I didn't fully complete it, and the books that I didn't manage to read on that one, they got rehomed to the Free Little Library and Goodwill if there weren't room in the Free Little Library. So I'm starting off with a brand new TBR with the books that I myself have purchased, not any that unless they were gifted to me from Christmas. So they're brand new books, none that I believe are left over, maybe a few that I was still really interested in that I now can actually get to and I'm not bogged down. But all the others are gone, and this is a fresh, brand new batch. So let's go on and dive into the books that I'm so interested in getting into in the year 2023, and that is so weird to be saying. Oh, so weird. All right, so the first, and I'm trying to go from like my bigger books size-wise down to the smaller, just because these are really heavy books, and then we'll go down to the lighter ones. So the first book on my list, The East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I wanted to get into this. I've heard really good things about this book. I don't know a ton about it, but I've seen it here and there on BookTube, and I've heard really good things about it. But it's a fairly chunky book, so we will see where I get to and when I can get to it this year. But that is book number 1. And I want to continue in with the series. I always get this one and then the other one. I think this is the Ash and Blood. Yeah, From Ash and Blood. That's this one. This is the 4th book, I believe, in the series. The War of Two Queens by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I've had this for over a year now. Haven't had a chance to pick it up. I've read the spin-off prequel to the whole series, but I haven't had a chance to read this one yet. Again, another really chunky book that I do want to get to at some point this year. Then I decided to pick up this is the second book out of 4. There are 4-part series. It's a manga, so it looks big, but it should be a fairly quick read. This is The Complete Cheese Sweet Home Part 2 by Kaname Kanata. I believe is how you say this one. I love cats. If you've been on my channel, you know I love cats. Anything to do with cats. My book club is called Books, Cats, and Chaos because that's my life I live. So I love the first part, or first volume, however you want to look at that. I loved it. It was hysterical. If you've owned cats, been around cats, it was hysterical. Yeah. So I can't wait to dive into part 2 and see what antics she gets up to in that. I've been doing a read-along with a group with Hannah and Christine, I think. They've been doing Sarah J. Maas a reread. They've started the always get these House of Blood and Earth, I believe. I always want to reverse those two. They're supposed to be doing a live show, I think either the 1st or 2nd week in January. I'm nowhere near finished with the first book of the Crescent City books, but I have read that book before, so even if I don't finish it, I can still join in on that discussion because I've read that book before. This is like a reread for me, but I have not read this one. I just kind of want to remind myself on the first book before diving into this one, because I have not read this entirety of this one. I've read maybe a few chapters out of it, but I have not read the entirety. So I need to finish that one or get most of it read so that I can dive back into this one and then really, really enjoy it. So probably one of my largest books is this one. But Not exactly sure when they are picking that one up yet, but I need to get on the bandwagon so I can get it read, because I'm really enjoying that series. It's, to me, more of her adult series versus the Throne of Glass and the ACOTAR series. To me, that feels more adult-like. This was a Christmas present this year. This is the Fire and Blood, so it's kind of the prequel to the whole Game of Thrones series by George R.R. Martin. So I can't wait to get into this book, because I have watched season 1 of the prequel of House of Dragons. So that's what that series was based, I believe, off of this book. So cannot wait to dive into it and see how what the differences are. In this book, you watched my haul, you have seen this book I got from my mom, or borrowed from my mom. It's the graphic novel for The Walking Dead's Compendium 1. It's the first one. Compendium 1, third. Anywho, so I wanted to get to it this year. So stack 1, I broke it down into 3 stacks. Getting to my medium-sized books, again comparing the two different with The Walking Dead, the compendiums, the graphic novels versus the seasons, or at least up to what I have watched. I can do the comparisons. Again, continuing on with the Keepers of the Lost Cities series. This is book number 4. I've been really enjoying this middle grade series. Just, again, this year has been school year since August, has really knocked down my reading a ton. So I'm hoping January I can pick up my steam again and continuing on with this book series. I've really enjoyed it. I want to dive back into it and continuing on. I believe there are 8 to 10 books in that series. There are quite a few, and I'm I've read 3 out of them. Another series I want to read and start is The School of Good and Evil. So this is by Soman Chenani, I believe. So I don't know, I'm butchering names. But yes, so I did want to see about this one, see what the hype is on that one, because I've heard okay things about it. I know for a while it was hyped up on BookTube for a while. I haven't really heard a lot about it since, but yeah, I want to check it out. This, I finally figured out this was book 2 out of my trilogy of Frostblood was the first book. This is the second book, like I was trying to figure out. I wasn't sure. Back in that haul video by Ellie Blake. This is actually officially book 2. So Fireblood, I want to get to it, continuing on with that series and remind myself what's going on with her, the kingdom, where it goes on from where it left off. Good fantasy type of story. This is continuing on another series. Kind of seeing a theme going on here. Yes. Not a lot of really standalone books in this priority list going on here. Of 23 books of 2023. Wildlands. This is by Stacey Marie Brown. Book 2. I read the first book 2 years ago. Or, yeah, I think it's been almost 2 years. Maybe a year ago. I don't think it's been quite 2 years, year and a half ago. Somewhere around in there when I picked up The Savage Lands, which is book 1. This is dealing with humans and Fae, and our world, 2 worlds collided. Faes basically have taken over our world, and chaos has ensued. And yeah, and there's something weird going on with our lead heroine, a lead female role, and then the male antagonist is kind of the love interest, and then he kind of did her wrong. Yeah, so this kind of now was enemy, then enemy to ally, kind of a love interest, but really didn't go much place with that, and then back to kind of enemies again. So I don't know where we're going with this book. So I read a little bit, ended up soft DNFing it. I'm going to end up restarting it back over and going from there. with this particular book because it's been a while since I've been in back in this book. So I'll re-pick that one back up. I read this book, the first book. What was it called? Okay. Yes, this, I believe, Sky in the Deep was the first book, maybe. Love that book. If it's the one I'm thinking of, I can't put my hands on the other book. Now, I'm not seeing the other book right offhand, but the first book, they're not, I don't think they're in the same village, but it's in the same world, if I'm not mistaken. This feels, again, like the Norse kind of god system, belief system, so it's not my own belief system. So that, to me, fascinated me. I'm hoping I can find this on Scribd as well, because that immersion reading brought the first book to life for me because of all of the language differences and the terminology and hearing it, that culture differences, and having it brought to life that way enriched the story so much. Can't wait to get to it to see if it holds up to the first book, because I really did enjoy the first book a lot. Alright, continuing on with another manga series. This is book 4. This is the collector's edition, Fruit Baskets. So there, I think, are at least 3 volumes, I think, bound up in this collector's edition. Yeah, so I can't wait to continue on with this story. It's been a while, so I may have to kind of go back and remind myself what this whole universe is about. But I do, if I remember right, is a young girl. She's human. And they are like the zodiac signs. Each of the boys represents one of the zodiac signs, and she ends up living with them because her mother has passed on, if I remember correctly. And there's like whole kind of drama going on with that. So can't wait to get back. If I remember right, it's been a while, probably over a year since I picked up one of the volumes. So can't wait to get back into it, but that's what I remember from what I have previously read. It's not too shabby. And then I think it's Pages with Paige, and her name is Paige. She's doing like a read-along type of readathon with the Bone season. I believe we're starting this in February, so it is gone on my priority list, but this again doesn't start until February, so I have some time with this one, but it is one of my priority books. It is a group read, so I wanted to get that on there to remind myself to make sure I do that and I can actually have some success. Woohoo. This one has been on my list for a while to read, just never had a chance to get to it because I had so many other books, but I love Spinning Silver because I'm not a huge retelling fan, so I wanted to make sure when I did read Spinning Silver, I fell in love with that book because it had such a unique way of telling the story. So this is by Naomi Novik, and this is Uprooted, I think, but don't quote me on it. I believe it's kind of like a Beauty and Beast retelling. You've got a flower, got a young lady being made to go to a castle. The only kind of twist is the man is supposed to be kind of a dragon, or he's called a dragon, but she's there to serve him. So I think it's a person, and he's just called Dragon, but I'm not sure. That's about all I know of this one, so I'm looking forward to diving in and seeing, and then I can report back to you later if it truly is a Beauty and Beast retelling. But should be interesting because I really did love Spinning Silver, and pretty much know how I feel about books because my face, I don't have a poker face at all. Pretty much, I think the only horror book I have, well, outside of the graphic novel, that's pretty much horror. Yeah, so far. Yeah, mostly been fantasy, manga, middle grades fantasy. Yeah. Alright, so the first horror book that I think I've come across, The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. This sounds really creepy, really fascinating. Again, this was hauled, and I kind of read the synopsis and gave you more description about that, so make sure you go back and watch that video, and I'll link it up in the cards above, and that haul video I'll put in the description below so you guys can check it out. But again, she sounded creepy when I think I came across it maybe on Goodreads, scrolling through the homepage with recommendations of people and what they were reading. It sounded good. So I read what it was about, and this is as much synopsis as you get on the book, so cannot wait to see what that one is about. If you're into romances, this is, I think, the only true kind of romance, just straight up romance that I have here. That's not a fantasy romance of any kind. This is Devil's Lair by Anna Zaris. This is, I think, kind of like a Bravta romance. So the Russian romance on that genre. So more darker side of romance, if you know what Bravta is. Kind of giving a look into that side of kind of the Russian mafia style romance. Kind of leaning towards that side. So that is what this one is, if you're interested in that side. I have, it's a duology. It's Devil's Lair, and then I think Angel's Cage is the second book in that duology, and I have it on my shelf to be read as well. Alright, and then the last stack of books. And then I'm on Discord group. We will eventually get to start Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. Finally getting to some series I've been wanting to read, just hadn't had a chance to because of all the other obligations I had going on last year. And then, of course, my reading slump due to work. Wanting to pick this up soon after we finish the Air of Folk read along that I have going on. It's kind of a buddy read that we're finishing that series out. We are currently on Wicked King, and then we have the third book, and then the novella. So we're almost done with that. So hopefully February or March we can get into this book. So it's coming. I think soon. Then later in the year, I've read the Mistborn trilogy, and I want to get into the second era, which is the first book would be the Alloy of Law, again by Brandon Sanderson. Want to get into this book. I love that one. That's what got me into adult fantasy. Truly was the Mistborn trilogy. So want to get into that. I'm trying to keep my books from tipping over. Then I believe it was Murphy from Murphy Napier's channel. Several years ago, she had raved about this book, I believe. It's the An Unkindness of Magicians by Kat Howard. I finally eventually picked it up a year or so ago, which again, just haven't had a chance to get to it. But I can now because I'm making it a priority, putting it on my list. I'm going to get to it so that I can mark it off, keep it if I enjoy it, move it on if it's something I'm not going to read again, etc. And then another, I think I saw this either on Instagram, Goodreads, I saw it somewhere. I don't think I've seen it on BookTube though. This is The Bone Witch by Ivy Asher, or it might have been off of from reading one of her other series, and I saw this was also written by that author. Saw it somewhere. So I wanted to pick it up. I've read part of it. I got up to chapter 10 and then I softly DNF'd it. Again, just stuff going on in life. Life happened. So I want to pick it up and continue on and finish it out. It was pretty good from what I remember. Anyway, she ends up inheriting her grandmother Ruby's shop, her magic shop. She ended up becoming kind of the head matriarch witch when her grandmother died. Everyone was kind of shocked and not expecting her to take over it, but all the power came to her to go on to continue on the matriarchal line. Stuff went on, and now she's having to team up, I think, with Rogan, who is, he's not a demon, I don't believe, but someone that a witch wouldn't normally deal with. So they're having now to work out differences and to solve a mystery of what's going on. So I did enjoy the part that I have read. It's dangerous what they're having to do because she wasn't in line. She didn't practice to learn the craft as much or as well as she should have. And now it's kind of biting her in the butt, from what I gather and from what I remembered. So we'll pick it up and continue it on. Like I said, it does sound fascinating from what I recalled of it. Hopefully, again, I can pick it back up and enjoy it again. Another manga series that I want, I think there are 7 volumes. I read the first one. Oh my God. Everyone needs to read this at some point in their life. If I could, I would have my middle schoolers read it, but I can't. It's called A Silent Voice by Oma. I know I butchered that really bad. Terrible with names. But it's all about bullying and the consequences of bullying. It follows both of your main characters, why he is a bully, what's going on in his life that makes him turn into a bully, all of the things that go on with her, why she's being bullied because of her, the disability that's being represented, all of it, the repercussions. It is so good. So good. I want to read the second volume and see where the story takes place and the consequences of it. Yeah, the repercussions and consequences. So I think this was 5 years after the first book ended. So can't wait. Again, I wish I could read this or have my middle schoolers read this because it is eye-opening. So eye-opening. If you haven't read it, I would highly recommend it. I'm not a huge manga girl, but this one will hit you so many emotional journey and so many emotions. So I had to be in the right frame of mind to pick that one up because I know it's going to hit me again. But that first volume, yeah. Again, continuing on, this is book 9. This is Heart of Venom by Jennifer Estep. This is another continuing on with the huge series of the Elemental Assassins, and it's nice and glossy. Elemental Assassins books. Love it. Again, want to continue on with Jen's journey, seeing where it's going, see if there's any resolutions between her and her love interest, because I'm still heartbroken over that. And seeing who the new big bad is, or if it's just going to be character development. And I'm okay with those books, character development and growth and all of the good things on that end. I'm here for it. Here for it all day long. Gonna continue on with my journey. So the last book that I'm prioritizing for 2023 is Dark Lover by J.R. Ward. And that will sum up all of the books that I'm reading. It is a paranormal romance out of these books. So mostly fantasy, primarily. Got one horror book, it looks like. Several graphic novels, a few manga thrown in there, more manga and one graphic novel. Some middle grade, some YA, and some adults. So kind of a broad range with all of that. So if you have enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you liked this video today. Any and all engagement helps my channel to grow and all of the good things, and lets you know, and if you click the notification bell, it lets you know when I upload another video. So, and until my next video, you guys, happy reading. Bye.